Question everything for the troops to not be televised. And that's for sure. So with that, I'm pretty sure you already heard about what went down in Georgia at the school and stuff when it comes to that rat-a-tat-tat. You know, gun violence, as they would say. You know, it's a sad situation that these things occur, you know. But if you look at the whole picture, because see, we can look at isolated pictures, isolated incidents, or we can look at the whole picture, the whole circumference of why there's gun violence in the United States or in the world itself, to be honest. And when we look at the United States for its own reality, the United States is a country that was built off of Holocaust, massacre, and genocide, for one. Also, in that reality of the foundation of the United States and it coming together with the French, the British, Dutch, and all these different people that invaded us here in the Americas, they came with that rat-a-tat-tat, with gun violence. A lot of our people didn't have that type of artillery when they got here, literally. And that's what led to the Holocaust, the massacres, and the genocides of our people. Not having that same artillery to be able to respond. But here we are, you wind the tape up years later. We're in 2024. But John F. Kennedy told us that there were certain things going on within the government, and you can't let a government go tyrannical against its people. Thus, that's why we have the right to bear arms. Because we, the citizens, are the sovereign, not the government, not the federal government, even though they have seized our sovereignty in the sense of the government, federal governments, and the states. Just what it is. And they're doing it by being the sole power over we the people. The people are supposed to be sole power over the government because the people are the ones who appoint the government to represent them, or the representatives to be the government to represent the people. But somehow that ball got dropped based off of secret society, secret oaths, and secret organizations within the government who have coup de grace the government and now want the guns back from the citizens. But once again, we as Aboriginal Negroes of America, we know all too telltale that our POW enslavement was legal by their standards, not by our standards, because we didn't chose that reality. We was forced into that reality based off of not having that type of artillery and that type of might at the time. But it was legal. And being under a government that has a history of legalized enslavement of a people, you got to ask yourself, can you trust the wealthy and rich that you do not know at all, that keep you in ghetto slums and hoods, lack of resources, number one on the federal census of ethnic hate crimes in America, as number one to be hated in America, won't give you reparations for crimes against humanity already done to you? Can you trust them by relinquishing your guns to them? Can you do that? Can you openly, honestly say you can trust a government that is mass incarcerating you, who just emancipated you or proclamated you to mass incarcerate you, even though the federal census of ethnic arrest say you ain't the one that's committing the most crimes? See, these are things that are just truths that you gotta weigh before you decide to side with a government who don't seem to have your best interest at hand. Because from last time I heard from the VP, no, I just won't do nothing solely for black people. even though you're supposed to be a citizen who needs stuff done solely for your community and solely for your nation of people, just like everybody else. So when we think about this stuff, you gotta understand the most powerful part of the Constitution is the right to bear arms based off your government going radical and tyrannical against you. Thus, that's why we the people are empowered, not the government. We are the people who appoints the representatives to be the government to represent us as the people. And if we lose that power, if we lose that strength, then where are we going? Because we know we coming from, don't we? And enslavement wasn't beautiful. Being POWs on your own land with another nation ruling you wasn't beautiful. We're still under generational poverty because of it. Right now as we speak, regardless of how we feel. That's just the reality. You cannot work for free and not get paid for years and expect to be in a better situation with those inheritors who are the ones who children are maintaining your oppression and your suffering based off of what their forefathers have done to your forefathers. And in turn, when you look at the two, you got one who's living in suburban, middle class areas on a dominance, and you got another living in impoverished areas in ghetto slums and hoods on a dominance of their nation. That was the flip-flop outcome of what has happened to us. But now we're talking all nations. We the people as the American citizens, and I quote because we ain't treated that way, but we the people as the American citizens must ask the question, where are they leading us to? Because if you take away any type of rights from the Constitution, then where are we going? See, before you take rights away from the people, from the Constitution that's supposed to keep them sovereign and keep them as the power structure of the United States, the people, before you take their rights, don't you think you should take away the promotion of that type of violence? Don't you think you should stop the airwaves from acting out this type of movie theater type violence when it comes to gunplay? Don't you think the promotion in the sense of the music that talks about this type of violence should be poured out of the society first? Don't you think that the video games that are being made that show you this type of violence should be poured out of society first before they attack your freedom in the form of your rights based off the Constitution? Don't you think that should be done first? Stopping them from promoting it and profiting off of this type of violence before they talk about taking your rights? Wouldn't that be more feasible to take Grand Theft Auto and things in that nature out of the video game reality of the minds of the children? Taking Mortal Kombat out of the video games and out of the mind of the children? Taking the horror channels down? Taking the so-called action movies that push that type of gun violence on TV off first? Don't you think these are some of the most important moves? Taking that type of rap, gangster rap music that promotes that type of violence out of the radio and out of the airwaves of the people first before you attack the Constitution that holds together your rights, that you pretty much had to put boots on ground, 10 toes down to get to happen, so that way you would have some rights coming from being POWs and enslaved people based off of being infringed upon, invaded on your own lands? Well, these are some of the things you need to think about first before you allow your rights to get snatched. Because at the end of the day, I just don't get it. I just don't understand it. For that is the question. You let me know. Peace, peace.